All right, Simon, we asked on Twitter today for questions for you, and the questions, I have to say, are really good. So I'm gonna shoot some of these at you from Slate readers, and you can give short answers as short as you want. A lot of them are fashion questions. Tim Stone wants to know, when will fashion models be replaced by robots?
Well, I think they already have been, because when you used to go to a fashion show in the 80s or the 90s, and the models would come out and they would stop and they'd see you, and if they knew you, they'd go, "Oh, hi, how are you?" and they'd keep walking. And there was a certain spontaneity to it. I remember a girl falling off a runway into someone's lap, and everyone laughed and pushed her back on the stage. Now they're like automatons. Stomp, stomp, stomp to the end of the runway and turn. So I would love to see a return to where they were less robotic. They are extremely robotic now. It's very odd.
And speaking for the heterosexual community, not very sexy.
No.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is to go to a very celebrity-studied fashion show, because the front row is all full of actresses who are tiny and with big heads, and then the runway is all models who are horrifically tall now, like 6'4" and from Estonia, with a minute little ping pong ball head. So there are two incredibly bizarre juxtapositions. There are these actresses who are like dinky little dolls with huge heads, and then these other chicks from Mars who are robotically flying up and down the runway.
Freak of evolution. Manta Raygun, that can't be a real name, asks, what's a great alternative to the tried and true but kind of boring LBD for a plus-size girl?
What's an LBD?
I think it must be a little black dress.
Oh, okay. Well, the key, if you're a plus-size girl, is confidence. You know, one time I was writing a column about Lane Bryant, and they have an incredible store in Harlem, and I spent an afternoon in this store, and I watched girl after girl come out of the fitting room, and the African-American women who are larger sizes, they exude this confidence and exuberance. You can wear anything. It's just about how you carry yourself and where your head is at. So a bigger chick can totally wear a little black dress. It's not going to be so little, but she should just, you know, get into it and be confident and be fabulous. And it's entirely a mental thing.
What's a reasonable clothing budget, Kate Fried asks, for a middle-class professional woman?
Well, I have a chapter about this in my book. Basically, clothes have become so expensive that the only answer is prostitution. You know, it's easy to see how those Japanese girls started turning tricks to buy handbags, because the other day I opened a magazine, and everything is like this now. Skirt, $3,000, blouse, $1,800, you know, bracelet, blah, blah, blah. By the time you put a little outfit together, you're up to $20,000. It's
unaffordable for 99.9% of the readers.
So I often think the only recourse is to sort of get yourself an oligarch. Like, how do you afford this stuff?
So short of prostitution or an oligarch daddy, what do you do?
Well, fortunately, you can go to H&M and Zara and Uniqlo. There's incredible stuff at all incredible prices. But the designer stuff with the recognizable labels in, the Tom Ford, the Dolce & Gabbana, that stuff is like hair-raisingly expensive these days.
A male fashion question from Todd Crocken. He says, popovers are the men's wear trend for the summer, right? What's a popover? That's my question.
That reminds me of those New York Times stories that you make fun of on Slate. Like, everyone's wearing bow ties,
yeah.
You know.
Bogus trend.
I did see a popover in toweling.
Wait, what's a popover?
Popover is like, it's a top that has no fastening on the front. It doesn't have buttons or snaps. So you just pop it over your head. And I did see a toweling popover that I thought was very Burt Reynolds circa 1974 by this designer called Piombo. And I thought I might rock a toweling popover this summer. I wasn't aware that it was a ubiquitous trend that was going to...
At what age do adult women in skinny jeans start to look like mutton dressed as lamb? That's from Connie Chai McKenney.
See, now women say things like that, mutton dressed as lamb. Women are very mean to each other.
Yeah.
If I see a portly chick going down the street in skinny jeans, I think, you go, honey. You know, in our day and age, if you've got the courage to pull on some skinny jeans and waddle down the street and be happy, then isn't that something to celebrate? But no, your sisters are going to call you mutton dressed as lamb.
Ouch, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.